We're going to put the miners, the steel workers, and so many of our other workers that are being clobbered by the stupidity of our government's leadership. We're going to put them back to work, and that includes the steel workers. It's going to happen fast, too. It doesn't take a long time, folks. It's going to go fast.
All right, that was Donald Trump earlier today promising to create jobs if he's elected president. According to the polls, the economy is the most important issue to millennial voters. Now, last week, while we were in Vegas for the third presidential debate, we did a town hall with a group of conservative millennial voters. Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, his wife Lara Trump also joined us for the discussion. Watch this. Let me just throw some numbers out here to get things started, because you guys are going to inherit this world. This election will impact you maybe more than you even know today. Here's where we start. We have now 95 million Americans out of the labor force, the lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, the worst recovery since the 40s, a 51-year low in terms of home ownership rate in the country. We have, since Obama became president, 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more Americans in poverty, and we've doubled the national debt that they've got to pay back. To me, first and foremost, we have really failed this generation.
No question.
And we've got to fix it for them. We need to fix the mess that has been created.
Yeah. And listen, there's $1.4 trillion worth of student debt in this country. If you look at Obama's raised the national deficit, as you said, by $11 trillion over 7.5 years. That could have paid all student debt 6 times over. Think about that. All student debt could have been paid off in this country 6 times over with the amount that they've increased our national deficit over the last 7.5 years. That's scary, guys. That's really scary.
It really is. Do you feel nervous about your future? Yeah. You really do? Lara, you know, I know both you and Eric do a lot of philanthropic work, and you help a lot of people that are in need. Here's another statistic. 1 in 6 American men, 18 to 34. How many men in here are 18 to 34? They're either, 1 in 6 of these guys are either in jail or living in mommy and daddy's basement because there's no jobs available for them.
No, it's really scary stuff. Look, when I got out of college over 10 years ago, it was hard for me to find a job, and I hear
it's really 5. Well, I know.
It's really 5. No. But when I talk to kids today, and I've been fortunate enough to go to many college campuses, I got to go back to my college, NC State, recently. It's scary stuff. People are nervous that there aren't jobs out there for them because there aren't jobs, because we're shipping manufacturing overseas, because we really don't have the economy in this country to sustain small businesses anymore. And, you know, you're right, it's going to impact this generation of people. And I think we got some smart ones in here that are going to vote for Donald Trump.
Who's voting for Trump? Come on. I like it.
Don and I have a lot in common because, like you, I was the troublemaker in my family. I got hit with the belt more than anybody. By the way, if that happened today, all you got to do is call the police and say they hit me, and your parents will go to jail and you'll never get hit again. Times have changed. But in all seriousness, you know, I look at Trump Tower. I've been over there a lot, and I watched all of you in your work environment, your everyday environment, and I see a lot of young people, and I see how hard they work. If I'm there at 7 in the morning interviewing your dad, the office is pretty full. If I'm there at 7 at night, the office is pretty full. There's an incredible work ethic and opportunity that exists that your father created for a lot of people.
I think without question. I mean, that was always the way he was with us growing up. I mean, we weren't handed anything. Now, we were spoiled. To say otherwise would be laughable. But we were spoiled with good experiences, incredible vacations. We got to do and see cool things. But they always kept us financially a little bit down, right? We had to work for things that we wanted. You know, it's going to age me, but, you know, I got Nintendo when all my friends got Sega, okay? That's how old I am, guys. So that's where I'm out of the millennial category. But because they kept us hungry, they made us work that way, and that's what it's about. I mean, by the way, the other problems with the job statistics that we read about is they don't talk about underemployment because of Obamacare. You know, people that used to work 40 hours a week, the small business can't afford the extra regulations and the increased premiums that are doubling and tripling in some of these places now. So people are now working 30 hours instead of 40 hours, or 25 hours instead of 40 hours. So they say, well, the numbers on jobs have gone up. Well, that's people working 2 jobs, okay, just to get by. That's not better job numbers. That's people doing twice as much just to be in the same place. And that's also really scary. So to promote that kind of entrepreneurship, to do the kind of things that my father's doing, that's what's special about this. That's why we need someone who's not part of this D.C. cartel. And that's a bipartisan problem. Okay, both sides have done this. They've created this mess. They've never done it in practice. It's all theory, right? We push a button and jobs just magically appear, even though we've never actually signed the front of a paycheck creating any jobs. It's not that simple. And I think with youth, You know, we are giving them a major problem. Okay, if we all ran our households like the government runs this country, we'd all be living on the streets. Okay, and we're just making it worse. And if you put in the most typical of typical politicians, okay, Hillary Clinton this time around, guess what? It's going to go from 20 to 30 just as fast. And there is a point of no return. There is a point that you don't come back
I worry
from.
the most about what you just said, a point of no return. Here's another statistic that I think should shock a lot of you. Would you be surprised if I told you that 1 in 5 American families, go down any neighborhood, count 4 houses, then go to the 5th house, there's not a single family member in that household working today? Does that surprise you? Since Obama's been president, there's a lot of talk about demographic voting in this election. Well, black Americans, there's been a 58% increase of black Americans on food stamps and a 20% increase black Americans that are not in the labor force. And by the way, you're right, Don, we don't count them anymore because those numbers are fraudulent and phony. They don't give you the real unemployment number.
If you've been out of work for 6 months, you no longer count. Now, you want the job. You just can't have it, but it doesn't.
You know, can you imagine
how crazy that is?
count?
I mean,
if you did your accounting that way, you'd go to jail.
Well, Sean, also think about the fact that median incomes in this country, right? This is scary stuff for anybody entering the workforce, but median incomes in this country haven't gone up in 15 years. So you enter the labor force when you're 20. You're now 35. You're not getting paid any more money. But what's killing you is Obamacare. Premiums have gone crazy. Utilities have obviously gone up. You know, we're the highest
number on Obamacare
nation in the world.
Obamacare has cost the average American $4,100, and the promise was keep your doctor, keep your plan, save $2,500 a year.
Yeah, but that's what this is, Sean. That's what it is. People are sick of politics as usual.